it's Wednesday and we're back with another video. What are we doing today?
It seems like the US has another African leader in their sights that they need to take out. Seems like the US is trying to prevent another African leader from liberating their country and Africa.
Yeah.
But before we get into all of that, let's just check out this clip first. And then you tell me what you think.
I can imagine a situation, though, in which the ruling elite of a country is receiving gratuities on the side that inure to the benefit of the strongman leader and not to the populace of the country. Does that sort of corruption and bribery go on with regard to the Belt and Road?
Absolutely, Chairman. I see this, and I don't mind calling them out, but Captain Traoré and Burkina Faso, as they know that both, whether it's their gold reserves, that is all those proceeds are just in exchange to protect the junta regime. There's a number of examples across, even in Sudan.
When a U.S. general goes on record accusing an African leader of using gold to protect himself, you know something big is happening.
So what are your thoughts when you see that?
Well, this is craziness, but nothing unexpected, of course, from the US. I was actually waiting for one of the Western countries to come talk, sideways about this guy. I was waiting for that. I knew that his path and his journey was not going to be smooth sailing. But at least he's still alive. Thank goodness. Hopefully he stays alive. I really hope he stays alive. Because when they start moving like this, they give me a feeling that they're trying to justify something bad that they could potentially do before they do it.
When this video dropped, the whole African diaspora responded, came out in droves, saying that, okay, we're seeing that the US now...
Not on our watch, yeah.
The US now has their sights set on Burkina Faso. He has survived multiple assassination attempts. He has survived multiple coups as well. Burkina Faso has been utilizing all its minerals and resources to empower the country and enrich the country.
Absolutely. That's what I saw. It just proves that they are upset because he's taking those steps that, to use their gold and their minerals in their favor. That is a big win for them. If they are, as an African country, can actually do that and be successful in that, I think that would be an amazing precedent to set, across the whole of Africa. Because I don't know, it's always been out of fear. I don't think it's because we really are that useless that we can't open any refineries or can't do this for ourselves. But it's that fear. It's that fear of getting out of the grasp of colonizers. And it's admirable to have leaders like this, but honestly, we've learned this before. We can't leave a person naked like this. If you also believe in the vision, and we also believe in it as other African countries, why is he standing alone?
Well, unfortunately, right now it's not that many. Well, most African leaders are still doing the bidding of the West.
Yes.
So the whole gist of it is to keep Africa as poor as possible, so that the West can extract the minerals
as they please.
Can get the minerals for cheap. That's the main reason why Africa needs to remain poor. We covered this before. There was a video where we talked about this.
Sub-Saharan Africa has been fundamental to the global prosperity of the advanced countries. Okay? And Africa had a role to play. It has a role as a raw material producer. We will not allow Sub-Saharan Africa to escape that. Okay, we do everything to keep Sub-Saharan Africa where it is, also impoverished. It's absolutely vital for the prosperity of everyone else. So let's get clear about that. Okay, and this means all the economic structures, all the global institutions, and the economics we teach everyone is all designed to keep Africa exactly where it is. And whether it is Europe or US or now China, it's always the same. We need Africa to be impoverished because we need those raw materials and we need them dirt cheap.
How the West maintains Africa remaining poor is to destabilize Africa. Keep it in a state of destabilization, keep it in a state of chaos. So the thing that keeps African leaders in line is the threat from the West to either threaten their lives or remove them from power.
Yeah.
So a lot of African countries.
How do we then fight that? Like, how do we overcome that? Because I know that it's harder for them in isolations. Do you know what I mean? But like, just that's what I'm saying. This is the time that they're supposed to step up and be in support. Are they gonna kill all of them? All of us? But now it's easy for them to isolate him and kill him. Then we have to wait another 30, 40 years until somebody else, has the balls basically to stand up and try and do it again. We'll never succeed like that. So this is the first time I feel, not the first time, but this is a perfect time right now for us to actually come together and be like, we're fighting this for real.
So unfortunately, until African countries can create militaries that can defend their nations against the biggest military forces in the world, there's nothing we can. We need to basically build a lot of military power in order for the West to even be afraid to attack. So you see instances of this. Iran is a very big problem to Israel, a very big problem to the States, but the States cannot just go and infiltrate Iran because Iran is self-sufficient enough to protect itself.
But they also got to that by not being passive. Do you understand? You need to...
The same thing with North Korea, the same thing with China, the same thing with Russia. There are certain countries that the US just cannot go and bully and attack because they have sufficient military power to defend themselves. Now, in Africa, there's no country like that.
We've got a common enemy, and the enemy is this stronghold of the West on us as Africa as a whole. It's our problem. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's our problem. It's not a Burkina Faso problem. It's not a South Africa problem. It's ours as a whole.
But it's not like that now because Zimbabwe has its own issues, South Africa has its own issues, Burkina Faso has, DRC has its own issues. The continent is completely destabilized. And we're all focusing on our own issues. So if there's something happening somewhere in the north.
But the common denominator in all of our issues mostly is this. It's the hand of the
but there's nothing we can do about that because all of our leaders are still puppets to the West. There's nothing we can do about that. Until leadership decides that we all need to come together and
let's do this.
There's nothing that's gonna happen because right now in South Africa we're fighting our own battles. We don't care what's happening in the rest of Africa. Nigeria, they're fighting their own battles. Burkina Faso, they're fighting their own battles. DRC, they're fighting their own battles. We all just divided like that nicely so that things can be managed nicely.
Conquer them nicely.
Things can still be managed nicely. So until Africa kind of unifies in a way where we decide that the root cause of everything
is that's what I'm saying. Like, this is the time to actually realize, hey, we've got a common enemy. Hold up with your problems. The common enemy and the reason for all of our problems is this.
Well, we're not there.
Is this. So that's why, you know what I feel like it takes to have, I wish more leaders who share like-mindedness with, the Burkina Faso leader to mobilize. The
sad thing is, as much as a lot of Africans are saying, we're not going to let this happen, we're not going to let the West touch.
I'm afraid we are.
Traoré.
I'm afraid we are.
If the United States decides that they want to take him out and they have a justifiable reason to do that, there's nothing nobody can do.
What are we gonna do
to stop that?
What are we gonna do?
There's absolutely nothing anyone can do to stop that.
Like, what are we gonna do?
And that's a sad realization that we need to come to. That this is probably the reason why a lot of leaders decide not to take it there.
Because no one got you back.
Because if I go against the system will take me out.
Yes, will take you out.
There's nothing
anyone can do about it.
So most leaders would rather sell out their country, remain in power, take whatever. take whatever favors and advantages they can take. Again, if you don't have the sufficient will to protect yourself, the US can do whatever they want. Yeah. So that's one of the main things as Africans that we need to get right. We need to improve our military force so that we can protect ourselves from people who want to impose their will.
Honestly, forget about this damn BRICS situation now.
No.
That was a complete failure. And we can't trust BRICS.
BRICS is still a good. It's still a good method to try and de-dollarize.
But look at them all going to kiss
de-dollarize
America's butt.
World trade. So that's still a very important thing to do.
It's a beautiful vision, but now clearly we have to Afro-rise it rather than Brexit.
That's the main reason why they took out Gaddafi. He didn't want to trade in the dollar anymore. So
it's like Libya. We were the ones that caused Gaddafi's death because Hillary Clinton played a game over there, and I was the one that went over there during the war. Gaddafi asked me to come over. I took a Biden staffer and a Bush staffer and a film crew leader from ABC One in New York, Larry Menti, with me, and a cameraman, because I didn't want the CIA to set me up. I hand carried the letter back from Gaddafi offering to resign. The U.S. didn't want him to resign. They wanted to kill him.
Why?
Because Gaddafi, and I met him 3 times. I took Biden on my second trip to Libya, by the way. He went with me when I spoke to the whole country. And every meeting I had with Gaddafi, he wanted 2 things. He wanted to unite the African continent into a group of nations economically, like European like the European economy. He wanted to base it on the gold standard. And the U.S. and Europe didn't want that. And the other thing is they wanted control of his oil, and they wanted control of his sovereign wealth. So Gaddafi had to go. That's outrageous, and it's wrong.
So unfortunately, it seems like this is only just the beginning of things.
Lord, give us the strength, give us the power.
If he's lucky, he'll survive. If not, the cycle continues. But once the US has sight set on you, it's a very difficult situation to get out of alive.
Honestly, I don't want this to end bad for Burkina Faso because I'm rooting for them. I am. Enough is enough. Like, honestly, I know that we can never ask them to do it nicely. Yeah, please wait, please leave us alone. That's not gonna happen. But I'm just hoping and praying for the best.
Anyway, you guys just know what you think about this whole situation.
Yeah, let us know.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
And keep watching. Goodbye.
We'll check you guys in the next one.